Hey, it's Joe with Lords of Capital, and I'm glad for you to tune in today on episode 2. And Lords of Capital is all about merging our faith with our business and talking about how those things two relate, giving some knowledge and some wisdom that you can apply to your business and hopefully result in success for you. And this episode is going to be all about vision, and I had an experience recently. We had an experience here internally at the firm, related to an issue, and the issue was around compensation, particularly bonuses, and at the leadership level. We had some differences of opinion, and so what that did was that led me to a journey on understanding why do I feel this way, right? So why am I having an emotional reaction to differences of opinion? I really wanted to understand that. Was it ego? Was it other variables, having a bad day? I just had my 4th child, so that definitely is a component, and has an impact on your life for sure. But I did some digging, and it really, during this journey, brought some clarity on why I was feeling this way. So I want to talk about that. I want to take a little sidestep here and just discuss the topic of organizational strategy, business strategy, and how people over the past few years have really looked up the startup and the startup culture and have wanted to emanate that. Why do people want to work for startups? Why are startups a great culture? How do legacy businesses have that kind of culture in their business to spur innovation and all of these things? So I did some thinking, and there's even some situations you can hear about people in startups working for free. I mean, that's just that fact in itself is enough to basically study and see why is that the case. So after doing some thinking, what I've come to the conclusion is I believe one of the big reasons is because a startup is typically led by a visionary, and that visionary has a very strong and compelling vision. Whereas you don't really see that in legacy businesses that have been around for a long time. That visionary, depending on the business cycle where they're at, that the enterprise is at, a lot of times the founder is kind of, either not so engaged anymore, or they are, looking at their way out, and there's just not that energy level. And so, it's interesting because in Proverbs 29:18 it says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." So that brings me full circle to the issue that we were having, and basically the conclusion that we came up with. So let me take a step back and say that life is about acting. It's about doing, right? We get up and we do something. So living is acting. And in order to act, you need to know what to do. So in order to know what to do, you need to know what you should do, what the ideal is. So for example, we can take something as simple as a knife, a knife is a tool. Using it to eat and to cook and prepare meals is different than, being reckless with it and leaving it out and having little ones around. So that knife, depending on the context, has a different meaning, has a different significance. We can describe the knife. We can say, okay, here's the knife, here's how sharp the knife is, here's how much it weighs. We can get a description of it. And that's really what science does. Science really only gives us a description. If I were to ask someone, what is energy? They can give me the formula of energy, but they can't tell me how to use it or why we even have energy. They can only explain what we can apprehend about it. Essentially, they can only describe it. But that doesn't tell you what to do with it or what you should do with energy. And so that applies to everything. Meaning, in order to act, in order to do anything, we have to know what it should be, and then by knowing that, we then can determine what we should do. And so that opened my eyes to why I was experiencing conflict, was because the reason that we're having conflict is because potentially we are valuing things differently. The significance of that situation varies between us. And so the ideal, or the question of what it should be, is apparently not the same. Therefore, what we should do is also going to be different, because our idea of what the goal is, our vision, right, is potentially it's apparent that it's different. So this goes back to organizational strategy, and when you think about the buckets, and you think about what a successful business needs to have, you can probably regurgitate some of those things simply from listening to content, reading business books. You need mission, vision, okay? Then you need to translate that mission and vision to goals, and then your culture is what is the foundation that keeps all those things together and keeps it's just the rules and unwritten rules of the organization that ensure that the vision is met by accomplishing the goals. So you have to have, again, Proverbs is interesting, right? Because this Proverbs was written thousands of years ago, but it talks about where there's no vision, the people perish. And I can guarantee you, go do a case study of businesses that are on the decline, businesses that have gone out of business, businesses that are on the verge of going out of business. What do they look for? They're looking for a visionary. They're looking for the new CEO that has the new vision. And then that makes the stock price go up. And you say, well, what is it? And it's that simple. It's having the vision. And so as we were talking about this, as I was talking this to my partner, I was saying, hey, we're building here, right? And we've been building, and we're building a house. But don't you think that we should have a blueprint to make sure we have the same blueprint, so that when we build this house, that it all comes together? Before we start buying more materials, hiring more contractors, right? That this house, we have the same plan, that we have the same blueprint. And I see that a lot from businesses that I go through, is they have these decisions to make, whether it's buy more equipment, buy another business, sell this, do that. And so, I'm about to go out to a client right now. We're going to discuss this very matter. And maybe there's the easy answer is, how does this translate to profit, and you're running it through that, right? But it's really hard to answer that question unless you understand what the vision is, unless you understand what the target is, what the goal is. Because when you have that, then that defines how you should act, what you should do. So I want to leave you with that. Again, where there's no vision, the people perish. Where there's no vision, businesses perish, organizations perish. It really goes back to vision. It really goes back to having the blueprint. And that's some wisdom that I think has endured through the ages and is still true today. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe, and if you have any questions, let us know in the comments. Thank you.